Welcome, everybody. My name's Peter Merry. I'm a co-founder and managing director at Ubiquity University. And I just wanted to say a couple of words before handing over to Mas to talk about the program, because there's going to be a mix of people on the call. Some of you will be familiar with the program, but the information also went out to people in the Ubiquity community and our social networks as well. So there may well be people on the call who aren't familiar at all with the program. But just for me to say a few words about why we're doing this as Ubiquity. So Ubiquity University emerged out of what was Wisdom University back in 2012, really with a focus on how do we create a form of higher education that really prepares people for the world we're moving into. Because as probably most of you are aware of, the traditional higher education system is not doing a very good job at really honoring the whole person and preparing people for the complexity and the challenges that are coming at us. And so our mission is to provide a space of higher education for transformational learning. And when we started looking around at the different programs that existed in higher education, we realized pretty quickly that the real content that was actually relevant to the world today, that was enabling people to bring their whole self to the learning experience, was also grounded in the context of a rapidly changing, highly complex world, wasn't actually in the existing higher education system, but was in other learning platforms and other learning initiatives that that were popping up all over the place. And so our sense was, wow, some of these programs are so good and the quality is so high. Why shouldn't people be able to get graduate degrees for these programs? And so what we've done is partner with people like Mas, who have really high quality programs that are aligned with our values and mission, to enable people to get graduate degrees for that work. And Raji will say a bit more about this, but essentially the coursework you do with the partner, so with Mas and his organization in this case, and then once you've completed the certificate, you can then come to Ubiquity and get your graduate degree by writing your thesis or your dissertation. And the exciting thing about that extra piece is that it enables you to do a deep dive into the topic that you really care about and put your own personal take on it. So what's the particular question you're interested in? So you all follow the same program with Mas and his team, but then you'll have a particular angle that you're interested in. So how do you go deep into that? But do so in the context of academic rigor, which means, a proper literature review, that you can't just go out and make claims without backing it up. So it's harder work than just writing an opinion piece. But when you take that into the world, it means it's something you can trust, because people are going to look at it and evaluate it and assess it with that level of academic rigor, which means you get the feedback and know, okay, what I have produced here is something that holds water. So one, you can trust it, and it means, because it's associated with a degree qualification, that people in the world are more likely to trust it. Because as we know, there's so much stuff floating around, so many opinions. Nobody quite knows how to discern what's true and what's not true. But something that has the backing of academic rigor gives people more faith in a piece of work. And then on top of that, what we hope you might do after you've written your thesis and dissertation is make sure it gets into the world, because it's great to do it yourself and get those insights. But the point is, the world needs those insights at this moment. And so we have a publishing arm at Ubiquity where we enable students to turn their dissertations into books, and a team that can actually help you build websites, develop video, develop your social media presence around your own messaging and the insights that you've developed through your research. So our commitment is to close the circle. You come in from the world, you go deep with Mas and the program, you go deep in your own journey through your thesis or dissertation, and then you take it back to the world. And that's what's going to really have the impact that we're hoping. So great that so many of you are interested, whether you're here with us live or watching the recording. And Mas, fantastic, that you want to partner with us to do this, because we love the program. It sounds really powerful and really relevant to the world today. So why don't you say a little bit about your program, because there are quite likely to be people here who have not heard about it. And then we'll just, Raji will say a little bit about how it works. When you go into the degree side, Georgie is our Dean of Graduate Studies, so she can tell you about a couple of the courses that you do when you come to Ubiquity. And together we can answer any questions, hopefully, that you have about the university process, and Mas about anything about his program. So thanks again, Mas, and over to you.
Yes, thank you, Peter, for that wonderful introduction. And so for those of you that don't know, I'm the director and founder of Dancing Shiva, Ayurveda and Yoga, a school that's being dedicated to an integral approach of these two wisdom traditions. Many of you have taken some of our courses. We have different levels of courses, all determined by the number of hours that are dedicated for each course. And these courses have to add up to a minimum of 250 hours, upwards to our highest, which is 600 hours, to be able to do one of the graduate degrees. Some of you have done our 200-hour Yoga Ayurveda program. You will have to do a sort of a topper of an additional 50 hours to be able to qualify for either the MA or PhD. And we have options for you on how to do that. You can do our 50-hour Ayurveda Foundations course to get you to that 250-hour level, or there's some other content that we have for those of you that can't take that course for whatever reason. We have another option for you. Those of you that have done our 300-hour, which I haven't offered in some time, are also qualified for these degrees. You have a substantial amount of material that you've studied in both Ayurveda and yoga, so you do qualify, because I know some of you are on this call that have done our 300-hour course, which I think we did our last batch maybe 4 years ago. We may bring that back, but at this time I'm focusing on the Yoga Ayurveda and the Integral Ayurveda course, which is the official name of the 600-hour course. This is the course that we're seeing the most demand for because Ayurveda is still not well known in the West. And this is why, to me, this partnership with Ubiquity is so important, because when you can go on and get an MA or a PhD in Ayurveda, this is going to give Ayurveda more credibility in the Western world, which it's lacking. Because in India, the degree programs are very different. We can't offer those degree programs here for various reasons. And so this opportunity is very, very special. And it allows those of you that have studied Ayurveda and yoga the opportunity to go on, maybe become an author. And to me, the most important factor here is to be able to teach in colleges and universities. Often you see that most faculty have at least an MA or a PhD as a requirement to be a part of the faculty of those institutions. And so this will allow us to bring Ayurveda into those schools and colleges where I feel it is very much needed, where we can get this wisdom to the younger individual and not to someone who's in their midlife. Because as you know, most of us that have come to our programs are already in their 30s or 40s. Not everybody, but they're already in their midlife. And ideally, Ayurveda is so important at the youth level, and it will give us a chance to improve our healthcare system, our understanding of wellness, and how we live in the world and understand the world in a very, very new way. And if you look at Ubiquity's platform, the variety and the diversity of classes and courses that they offer is remarkable. And it truly provides a broad framework to expand and bring your Ayurveda and sort of collaborate your studies of Ayurveda. I myself am doing it right now. I am enrolled in doing the MA and PhD because I want to be the advisor or a potential advisor. You're not required that I be the advisor, but I want to give you all that opportunity if you want to choose me as an advisor. I have a few more things to say, but I want to hand it off to Rajiv, and I can come back on another few points that I want to share.
Sure. Thanks so much, Mas. Appreciate it. I won't be long, everyone. Lovely to see you all here, whether you're here in person right now or watching the recording. My job for the next 2 or 3 minutes will be to just run you through how this is structured so that you understand operationally how this is going to go. Can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yeah,
Yes.
you broke up just for a small moment.
Am I back?
In Sri Lanka, the internet's not always great, but we'll hope we'll keep going and proceed until apprehended, Raji, and otherwise we'll take over.
We'll be okay. Fingers crossed. So, as I was saying, I will take the next few minutes to just describe to you all how the program is structured in terms of the requirements, in terms of the order of events, so that it's clear to you kind of the journey that you will need to go on. So, if you ever have any questions with regard to the program and how it's structured, the first place that you can go is our landing page for this program on our website. This is the landing page you see here. You would navigate there by going to Learning Pathways, Degrees and Certificates, and then you will see this listed on that page. So I'm going to scroll down because you can look at all these details for yourself. But what I do want to draw your attention to is this middle section of the page here that tells you what's required of you for each of the degree pathways. So as Peter mentioned, the coursework that you do with Mas is the entirety of your coursework, or most of it, not the entirety, but most of it. You bring that coursework to Ubiquity to write the thesis or the dissertation, if it's an MA or PhD. Now, you are required to do a few additional other courses. And as you can see here, for a master's, actually for all three of them, master's, PhD, or MA, PhD, the one course you all have to do is the Creative Journey to Dissertation course. That's run by Dr. Georgie, who's on the call here. She'll speak to you soon. She's our Dean of Graduate Studies. It's a 5-day intensive that prepares you for the thesis writing process. We actually recommend that people take that course at the beginning of their coursework. Now, it's okay if you've already completed, but if you are someone that's looking to join Master's program, then do consider strongly taking this course at the beginning because it will set your mindset for putting into context everything you learn with him into the context of writing that thesis or dissertation. So that's your master's degree. If it's a PhD, it's that course, plus you have to take our Shatra Academy pilgrimage. That's an in-person learning journey. It's a wonderful experience, actually, and Georgie will speak more about that. It can be taken in person or online, so you have both options. And then finally, our Great Books course, which again, Dr. Georgie will speak about. MA, PhD, same, just add 8 electives of credits of other courses. So if you scroll down the page, you'll see how much these degrees cost. And we have a 3-part installment plan if you're unable to pay upfront. Now, as Mas had also said, you will have an MA advisor that you can choose. We have a list of MA advisors. Also, you can find them on this or click through to them on this page. So we have MA and PhD advisors along with writing support, and you can choose either from our pool, or as Mas said, you can choose from someone that you would like to have. And I think Mas would be an excellent option there, actually, on this subject. So broadly speaking, that's how this is structured. What I'm going to do at the end of my words here in a second is I'm going to share 2 interest forms in the chat. So if any of you are interested in either of these programs, please fill out the relevant interest form. And that will alert our admissions office to then get in touch with you. Because what you want to do, if you're interested in starting at any point, is to get your admissions documents in, and then book a spot in the Creative Journey to Dissertation course. We have one held every month. And so if you know that you've got a month or you've got those 5 days, it would be really good to enroll, pay that first installment, and book your spot in that course. But I will leave that to you, and I will ping pong this over to Georgie now, and I will put those interest forms into the chat so that you can fill those out if you're interested in taking this next step. Thank you for now, and Georgie, over to you.
Thanks, Georgie.
Sorry.
Well, a warm welcome to you all. Thank you for joining this information session. So as Raji and Peter said, I serve as a Dean of Graduate Studies at Ubiquity University. My name is Georgie. I've been in this position for 9 years, so know quite met amazing students, and hopefully you will join our community. Raji asked me to share some light on shed some light on the 3 core courses for the PhDs and for the combined program. As he said, for the MA, you will need to complete only 1 core course. That is the Creative Journey to Dissertation course. It's a week intensive, Monday to Friday, 3 hours per day. And we start around just 20 minutes, just like when we started today. So within the 3 hours, you have a half an hour break. The first 1.5 hours you will spend with me, and we will cover so much of the graduate path. This is not just about the thesis or dissertation writing. There's so much more to it. Because such really deep inquiry that you will be embarking on will affect your spiritual, individual, societal life, your how you actually view your fears, how you encounter your fears, how you actually become more adaptable and more flexible. We discuss many elements, not just how to write an academic paper. To learn how to write a philosophy paper is going to take you 5 to 10 minutes. It's much easier than one's thing. What's much harder is the personal elements, because you're going to encounter maybe daily, weekly, or monthly basis unforeseen challenges. And most universities do not discuss these very important things, because we talk about what is procrastination. We all procrastinate, okay? Whether it is about house chores or writing a post paper or researching or anything else. We look into that. Why do we procrastinate and how to overcome it? We also discussed that how to find a major advisor. Hopefully it will be Mars, but maybe the fleet will be actually much greater, and how to establish a fruitful relationship, because it is a very, very important relationship. Almost it is just as high as choosing a dissertation topic. We will discuss research methods and what are the most common research methods our students use at Ubiquity University. What is first draft, second draft, what else? Also, how to find the best place in your house to write. What are the best times as well? How to get to know yourself, how to know that you are never alone. You have a community. community at Ubiquity, community, at your organization. So according to my experience and experience of Peter and Raji, 99% of the graduate students, they go through the same challenges and blocks and joys and delights. So also, we will have an hour each day at this Creative Journey to Dissertation course where we discuss why intuition and creativity so important, and imagination as well, because we understand that these are integral part of a graduate path. Also, you will have a chance where each of the course participants a session whereby for like 10 to 15 minutes, you can share free talking what is your interest field, what it is you would like to write your dissertation or thesis on. It is not that you're supposed to know right at the beginning the exact title and the subtitle, but it's really good to talk about it. We understand that we change daily, weekly, monthly basis. So I think most of you, you are interested in Ayurveda and yoga. So clearly your research topic will be in this constellation. So as you are going to speak about your interest field, we as the audience, the little team of maybe like, 8 to 10 people, we will offer our feedback. And that will be so important because most of the time, students have an aha moment. Oh, this is really the flame within, because we need to find that flame within. Right? Because that flame within is going to carry you through the dark days of dissertation writing, which is inevitable. It is really inevitable. So that's the little nutshell about the Creative Journey to Dissertation course. The second core course for the PhDs and the combined degrees is the Chartres Academy course. The title Chartres, it comes from an amazing city that is an hour train journey away from Paris. This year, we're not going to go to Chartres because of the Olympics taking place in France, and it is going to be super chaotic. So we go far away, which is Mexico, Teotihuacan. If you cannot join us in Teotihuacan this year, you can join us next year in France, or as Raji mentioned, you can take the 2021 or 2020 recorded sessions of this particular course, which in a sense for many of you may be easier because you don't have to fork out money for travel, accommodation, and you can take it at your own pace. However, the in-person course is so much deeper and more profound. It is 8 hours per day, whereas the recorded course is only 3 hours. Every year, the theme of the course is different because it is based on the 7 liberal arts. I'm sure you're all familiar with the 7 liberal arts. Now, quickly, because I know that there are lots of questions and I need to pass back to Peter and Mars. The third core course is called the Great Books course. This is the easiest course at Ubiquity University. It lasts for a year and it is segmented in 3 trimesters. One trimester is 4 months. We started January, so January, February, March, April. Within 4 months, we covered 2 books. One book has clearly, obviously, 2 presentations, live presentations. If you miss the live presentations, not to worry because the recording will be put within 24 hours on our YouTube channel. After each trimester, you will need to submit a post paper. You do not choose the books, you choose the trimesters. What I mean by that is you don't have to take one trimester after the other. You can just, take one trimester and maybe skip one, take another one. It is easy because you need to read 2 books in 4 months. I'm sure that most of you read so much more than that. But even if you don't have the time to read 2 books in 4 months, you need to just watch the presentation, read about it, and in a post paper, provide your own reflections. We are Innovative University. We're not going to give you a set number of questions, answer this, answer that. It is absolutely up to you what you would like to discuss in your post paper. I think these are the really short overviews of the courses. So back to Peter and Mars and Raji, and take it wherever you would like.
That's great. Thank you, Georgie. Yeah, nice overview there. So I think we've covered kind of all the main bases, and people may well have questions about anything that we have talked about or that we haven't talked about and that you'd like to ask. So feel free to drop any questions you have into the chat. either about the Dancing Shiva programs or about the Ubiquity degree side of it.
Could I make one more point that I think I missed? So because we have so many graduates, hundreds and hundreds of graduates in our 200-hour program, those of you that wanted to qualify for these degree programs, as I mentioned, we have the 50-hour foundations option, which you can take, and it's modified in a different way to qualify because it can't be all online. There's certain qualifications for that. But we also have the 150-hour complement to that course where you can come to India and do the India intensive and get credit for that, which would give you a lot more hands-on exposure, some clinical exposure, and that would bring you to the 350 hour level. So those are your options there for all of you that did the 200. And this year, keep in mind, we're running 2 courses in the United States, both West Coast and now East Coast. We're launching a course in South Florida, as well as between California and Arizona. And so we have options for many of you that are spread throughout the United States to either come to one location or the other. If you miss a module in California, you're welcome to make up that module in Florida because they're not going to be meeting on the same weekends. So it really gives everyone a chance to never miss any parts of the integral Ayurveda course. So keep in mind that's coming up in the next couple months. We're launching in April and May. And I think those are the last few things I wanted to mention. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Mas. Well, Sharon says she had a couple of questions. I think you should be able to unmute yourself now, Sharon.
About that, yes. Thanks very much for your time. I was actually going to type them in. I was typing madly, but thank you for unmuting me and allowing me to speak. So I appreciate the time that you've taken today regarding your programs and discussing the Ayurveda Yoga program. A few questions. First of all, is there an open repository where you keep completed dissertations of your students so that anyone from the public can access these documents and see what your graduates are writing about? The second question I have is, do you have an ethics board for review and validating and allowing for certain research projects to be undertaken and completed? And I have a question regarding the Ayurveda Yoga program. When we complete our PhD in Ayurveda and Yoga, are there universities and colleges that are willing to accept us as professors in their institutions? So is there any sort of memos of understanding with different universities and schools that would like to have us teach there? And my final question is about Ubiquity. Does Ubiquity have any shared relationships with other community universities and colleges so that we can share resources, for example, labs or libraries, or maybe have exchange students taking different courses that can be applied to different university degrees? And so that's a lot. And I'm sorry, I just rambled them off as I had written them down. So I hope you can help. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, great questions. I just dropped in the chat the group on our community platform where students can post their theses and dissertations. Obviously, it's up to them if they want to make it public, but all the ones that are there, they have agreed to have there. There've been about 400 graduates over the years at Ubiquity, but some were quite a while ago. And the platform is only relatively recent, so we haven't been able to contact all of them, but we're slowly adding to that collection. And of course, now that we have the publishing arm, students are able to turn their thesis and dissertations into books. So that's a really exciting development. I'm going to leave it to Georgie to answer the question about the ethics board.
Oh, thanks, Peter. Yes, Sharon, it's a great question. We discuss it more in detail at the Creative Journey Dissertation course. It really depends on the subject of your research, because many times there is no need for an ethical committee to be formed. A consent formed is enough, sufficient enough. I will share with you all, if you attend my course, the ethics document, so we can form one at Ubiquity at your request, or you can form your own. So there are plenty of possibilities, but as I mentioned, it really depends on the research topic of your dissertation.
Right.
Back to you, Peter.
Yeah, Mass, if I just answer the other one about Ubiquity, and then I'll hand over to you. We have a relationship through the Global Accreditation Council with a couple of other universities. One is the Earth University in India, run by Vandana Shiva, who you might know, who's a great ecologist and activist out there. And the other with the International University of International Cooperation, based in Costa Rica. And so those are the two kind of formal relationships we have through the GAC. We don't have any other, kind of formal relationships with universities, although we are visiting the Alanus University in Bonn in Germany, which is a Steiner-based university who are very interested in collaborating, but no other formal relationships. So Mass, over to you for the question about the program.
Yeah, so with regards to these affiliations with universities, there are a number of universities that I have taught at over the last 10 to 15 years. I've maintained very good relationships with these universities. I come in each year and often do talks for the medical school, first and second year medical school students. We have a memorandum with DPU, which many of our students have attended DPU because that's where you finish the final parts to the integral Ayurveda course. And we're working on expanding that relationship because DPU is now developing affiliations with NYU, which is a recent one. I just met with the chair of one of the departments there about that, Boston College, and a number of universities. And since we're affiliated with DPU, and this information is on our website, as graduates, we're going to be a part of sort of a network and a team of faculty that will be connected to and often get invitations to these institutions. I've worked with the California State University system, UCLA, UC Riverside, UC Santa Barbara, and Arizona State University, University of Florida, and other universities in the Midwestern part of the United States. And this is something I'm putting more attention to. And this is precisely why I think the timing, the auspiciousness of the timing, the partnership with Ubiquity has occurred, because as we produce more graduates at this level, going to the MA and PhD level, it will provide a greater body of faculty to share and bring Ayurveda to these higher learning institutions. So I'm very, very excited about this opportunity. And I would say one more point. I have spoken to a number of the faculty at DPU, the university in India, very specifically with Dr. Gunvant Yeola, who is the principal of the university. And he wants to expand our relationship in this way. And he also wants to be an advisor to many of these graduates. He is a medical doctor and a double PhD, and he currently is an advisor for many PhD students throughout India. And I'm actually going to have him be my advisor, he's been a very special person in my life. We've worked very closely together for the last 10 years, and he has offered to be an advisor for all of our graduates if you choose to work with him, which is a tremendous honor as the principal of the largest Ayurvedic university in India. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Right, that's exciting. That's very exciting to be building those relationships. Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions? Feel free to kind of either drop them in the chat or indicate that you'd like to ask them, and we'll see if we can get you unmuted. Or would anybody like to channel a question from someone who's going to watch the recording?
Yeah, I want to invite Belinda to speak. Her video's not on, but she's been a very close, she's been both a student and a sort of program coordinator for the Dancing Shiva programs, and she's played an integral role in connecting with our students and understanding the body of knowledge that we're presenting and why Ayurveda and yoga together are so important today. Belinda, would you like to speak?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here and just witnessing this amazing partnership between Dancing Shiva and Ubiquity. It's just amazing to see how Ayurveda is starting to really lift up, and I really see it changing in the world. As a student to Masvidal and to Dancing Shiva, I've done the 250 hour, I'm finishing off my 600 hour. I've been deep in studies with Mas and just really deepening every day. This is the practice of Ayurveda, and everybody knows this, but the practices and the teachings that Mas brings to the table and to share with everybody that hasn't done any of these programs, it's so in depth that you actually go through that mental, physical, emotional, spiritual sort of healing that happens. So it's just being part of this in this partnership and watching Mas bring this to the table is quite amazing to just witness. And I don't have anything else really to say, but just that, every time you go through these programs with Mas and through the Dancing Shiva, if it's the 250 hour or the 600 hour, it's such an in-depth and a lineage-based teaching, which is, I think, that brings all that you really need to the table. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak here and just to witness.
Thank you, Belinda. That's very nice. I wanted to say one more thing. I just finished taking the Journey to Dissertation course that Georgie was leading, and I had a wonderful experience. It was very interesting for me, being a teacher and teaching constantly for the last 20 years, to be in the student's chair again. I have to say, it was an interesting place to be, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. It's something I've been craving for so long, to listen, to observe, and to work with a group of other individuals that are pursuing their higher degrees in their life, individuals of all different ages. And so it really allowed for me the opportunity to think in a different way, to look at the work that I've been doing and reflect on it. And it really spawned a creative nectar inside of me that I'm very excited about. I feel re-inspired again. Bringing Ayurveda and yoga to the United States, we're the original school that has brought these two great traditions together. I've been committed to this for now 25 years, and I've run into so many challenges over the years, especially in a Western world that is so science-based and removes consciousness from everything. It's really been a really exciting portal for me to come into. So I want to encourage you all that when you're starting our courses, you can also, as Raji said, start with the Journey to Dissertation course or work it into while you're taking our course, because it'll help to give you a perspective of where you're headed and the direction you're headed, so that you can begin to kind of shape the way that you're going to work with Ayurveda and yoga in your life, and see how you can bring this to the world, because every person has a unique capacity. You have unique skills, you have a unique background and knowledge, and so you'll find a very special way to bring this teaching to others. So if you've already graduated from our courses, then I would encourage you to just start. They have a schedule up for the Journey to Dissertation course. I think it's offered every other month or so. So there's a variety of options. And I'm excited I was hoping to return for this Chartis portion of the Master's PhD. It was previously held in Paris, right? Or outside of France, somewhere in Europe.
It's always in Chartres, so that's an hour train journey away from Paris.
Okay. Well, Mexico is our backyard. Many of us love Mexico. It's a sacred land with a rich culture. And I've continued to do a lot of work in Mexico, and I think that's also a very exciting place to come together. So it looks like we have some questions there.
Yeah, Mas, do you want to read those? And then I'll just say something that our director of admissions normally says when she's on the call, which is, should you not have a bachelor's degree, because it is, of course, a prerequisite to do a master's to get a bachelor, to have a bachelor's degree. Should you not have a bachelor's degree, but have significant life experience or done other trainings that you believe demonstrate that you have bachelor's level competence, then you can still apply. And our director of admissions, Nora, will review any documentation you send, a CV, any kind of certificates you've got in other contexts, and we can potentially award you bachelor's equivalents that will allow you to go on and do the master's degree. So just to say that in case anybody either here or while watching the recording, if that's relevant to you. And then, Mas, there seem to be mainly questions for you here. Raji has brought a couple of people in. Do you just want to read Marina's questions, or Marina, would you like to ask them live?
Yeah, let's have Marina come on. She's a new student. I'd love to hear from her.
Hi, aloha.
Aloha.
I'm from Hawaii. Yes, so I'm really excited to be here. I was actually born and raised in Ukraine, but I was raised in an Indian family, if you will. I was raised in the Vedas. So this is like really coming full circle for me. I'm very excited. So my question was structure based, because I also have a lot going on with other work, etc. So if you can be so kind and share the structure of the program, when does it start? My understanding is that there are these Wednesday classes that start at 5 p.m. Pacific. Then there's these 4-day in-person events, that there's 4 of them. And what else is included in the structure so I can visualize the flow? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a big question. I'll give you the basic structure. It's all in the catalog, but basically there's 4 live modules. Those take place from Thursday to Sunday. And then there is online classes that happen every Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then there is a Tuesday class that meets twice a month that is focused on self-care, integrating the teachings into your life and how you're bringing those teachings into your life. There's a number of other special projects that are involved. You have to prepare a presentation, a workshop to be taught that I review. We decide on a topic that you choose. And then there's a number of other exercises that you have to do and perform throughout the course, reading material, testing, that will then eventually prepare you for the India intensive, which is focused on hands-on, a lot of clinical experience. This includes 50 case studies. 5 of those case studies you have to oversee on your own. You choose those patients to be a counselor to. The rest of those case studies you get exposure to through me in class and also being at the hospital while studying in India. So that's a basic overview of the structure of the course. Belinda has posted all of those details there in the chat, so you can see that, but everything is in the catalog.
Great, thank you, Mas. You might want to read Jivasu's questions there while I answer a couple that Boo has asked in the Q&A. Asking, are there any policies that we have regarding the use of ChatGPT? Well, you know, the AI is good for kind of regurgitating and synthesizing facts. So, you know, you could use it for that. But one of the key things that we haven't said about the writing of a Ubiquity thesis or dissertation is that we insist on the integration of the subjective and the objective. So in most universities, the focus has to be on the objective. So Dr. Georgie will often tell the story of, you know, at the Sorbonne, where she got her PhD, by the way, with commendation. She wasn't allowed to start a sentence with I. You know, it had to all be third person, it. However, you know, the quantum sciences have been telling us for decades now that the observer affects the observed. So is there really any such thing as a completely objective reality? We believe there isn't. We believe that the subject influences the world around them, and their perspective shapes how they experience things. And so as part of writing your thesis or dissertation, you have to be explicit about your own inner journey in that process of writing your thesis or dissertation. Now, that's something which the AI, you know, can't do. It'll kind of generate facts and things for you, or it draws, of course, on past knowledge. That's the nature of it. It processes information from the past. So, you know, for a little bit, you might be able to use it. But because of our subject-object integration, it kind of deals with the whole question of AI and ChatGPT. And on top of that, for your PhD, you have a live exam or around your PhD. So once you submit it, there is a board of people, 4 people, who will ask you questions about your topic as well. So you couldn't get away with having somebody else write it, because you'd probably come over pretty incompetent in that conversation. So that's the first one. And the second question you have.
Peter,
yes.
I'm sorry, before you move on, may I add just a couple of thoughts? Absolutely agree every single word you said. AI could be a useful tool for research, but it's not good enough for an academic paper. For an academic paper, you have to denote where the information comes from, if it is the objective, right? So the objective mean that who said what about the statement you want to argue for, or the question you're asking. And it's, an AI is almost like a Wikipedia. Anybody can write a Wikipedia. So it's not really considered as an authentic information or a source of information. So try not to use it. And also, you don't want to, you want to be proud for the work you do, for the research you do, because it is about your self-development, your own becoming. Yeah, would you be proud of something that is not generated by you? I don't think so. So this is what I wanted to add. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Georgie. And then the other question was, are there any legal protections for faculty? Well, remember that the certificate is offered by Dancing Shiva. So these aren't Ubiquity faculty or Dancing Shiva faculty. I mean, Mas may like to answer that. And the faculty who teach potential lawsuits or legal disputes within the US. Well, there's nothing in particular that we've ever had to come across there or deal with. So not as far as I know, Boo, anyway. There's actually, there's no kind of conditions under which we've seen that happen. And at the moment, that's not really been an issue for us at all. I don't know if you have any kind of experience on that side of things, Mas. I'm not quite sure.
One of the so there are third-party organizations throughout the world. This includes Europe, India, the United States, South America, that offer practitioner or counselor insurance. We encourage all of those of you that are going out into the world to practice, to teach, to become self-insured. This is important. And in fact, many institutions, I'm working with actually an ashram right now that is launching a healing center and a yoga school. And this is one of the requirements. All the faculty that are coming in have to be self-insured. So this is something that we're seeing more and more today. Now, keep in mind that yoga or Ayurveda are not licensed. There is no government influence for these systems here in the United States. In other countries like Sri Lanka, Israel, India, where Ayurveda is a licensed practice, you have to work directly with the government to get registered and get approved before you can go out and practice. That's not the case in the United States. There are no requirements by the government to practice Ayurveda. And we sort of like it that way. I'm part of a group of original pioneers of this work in this country that would like to keep the government out of things. So that's what I would say with respects to that point. The question around connecting doshas to science, connecting samadhi to science, sure. We often will use some science language so that people can understand the depth and the non-dualistic perspective that these traditions present that are not always understood by the linear thinking mind, the scientific mind. So for a very simple example with the doshas of air, fire, and water are easily defined as electricity, metabolism, and preservation. These also have esoteric values connected to different traditions, the Christian tradition, the Hindu tradition. So these are universal wisdom teachings. These are universal, it's a universal intelligence. And so we try and explain this wisdom in that way so that you can understand it in different contexts. And science is one of those. So I hope that answers your question.
Great. Thanks, Mas. Well, we're coming to the top of the hour, so we need to wrap up unless there's anybody got a burning question left that they would like any of us to answer at this point. Right, just put the link into the interest forms, where I believe you can also indicate which creative journey month you'd be interested in as well. Raji, yeah, there's one a
Right.
month. And that'll enable our admissions team to get in touch, if you have any questions and things.
And I would say that those of you that don't have your transcripts from us, and you would like to get them so that you can move forward, just email us at programs@dancingshiva.com. We'll prepare your transcripts at the level of and all of the courses that you've completed with us, and then you'll have those to present to Ubiquity.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Mas, and thank you everybody for joining us and for watching. If you're watching the recording, we hope to see you around the community at some point, and be lovely to have you as practitioners join the community of students and learners and people who are really committed to making a positive difference in the world amongst the Ubiquity students. So, and hopefully in the end to create these amazing pieces of work that we can then get out into the world again. I mean, that's the really exciting piece for us. For you, it's the journey, as Georgie would also say. It's the inner journey you go on. It's that deep dive. So it's a nice combination of the personal journey and transformation that goes on with a real positive contribution into the world. So thanks again, Mas, for the partnership.
Yes, thank you.
Looking forward to hearing from you all, hopefully.